This is a Wild Age Production podcast.
You remember.
Roll your stealth roll?
Game books, pencils, pizza, cheese puffs, and a hell of a lot of dice.
And the dragon woke up.
Roll for initiative. This is the Roll for Initiative podcast, where 1E is the place to be.
Hey folks, this is Vince, the Evil DM, the podfather of OSR podcasting, here with the Roll for Initiative Lost episode. This was done, episode was recorded around volume 3. It was an episode of myself, Nick, Will, and Matt. We went over some emails and we did some fun jabbing at each other. We used Skype at the time, so the sound's a little bit, you know how much Skype really stinks, but that was where the episode was. It does, at one point, Nick has to leave, so he drops off the podcast because of all the technical difficulties. Myself had some technical difficulties, so that's what happened with Skype after Microsoft bought it, so what do you expect? Well, hopefully you are here to hear this episode. Why not check it out? Here you go, folks. Roll for Initiative Lost episode. The Roll for Initiative podcast. I am DM Vince, sitting alongside DM Matt.
Hello, everyone.
And sitting alongside him is DM Nick.
Hi, folks. Hi, everyone.
And in his own bubble, he can't get near any of us, is DM Will. No, I'm kidding. Hey, DM Will.
What's up?
We are back for yet another show, as some people said, wow, you guys are really churning out shows. And yes, I've been cracking the whip on these guys that do a show. No, I'm kidding. We had a couple weeks off anyway, so. Just happened to record a lot of shows at once.
Yep, a little bit of a backlog. It helps.
So let's talk a little bit about what we've been up to. And after we did the slew of the podcast of the reviews of the Slaver series, which everybody seems to have really liked, and they enjoyed the interview we did with Lauren Schick.
Yeah, that came over great. I'm glad everybody enjoyed that.
Yeah, so let's jump, because we're going to do some more in the future. We have a lot of requests, but we're going to try to get to the more popular ones first and then jump into the not-so-popular ones. So
I have a question.
You do? Really? You have to write to rfistaff@gmail.com.
Did you ask them the questions I sent you?
I did get a good part of them in, yeah.
Good. Just making sure.
Yeah, I was limited to a bunch of questions because he only had a limited amount of time, so.
No big deal.
So let's talk about some gaming. Matt, did you do any gaming?
Actually, I did. We managed to fit a couple sessions of my Ravenloft home campaign in. Right now, one of the players has a spirit that is following them because as they were transversing through a swamp, they came upon an abandoned house, like a house in the middle of it, which is really odd, and they went in and they found like a comatose man. So they're just like, okay, they took a bunch of his stuff and they left. So as they're going down...
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Well, and then as they're going down the river, they see in the background like a light, and it's that comatose man following them with a lantern and holding a book. So they stop, the man catches up to him, and they just stop. And the man stops there, and they go and he won't do anything, so they take his book, take his lantern, and go all head off again.
You just let them take it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and then at which point, about an hour later, they see this guy, same book, same lantern, following them again.
Okay.
Yes, at which point they're rather unnerved. So they have their mage cast a sleep spell on him. He falls asleep, and then they're just like, we don't know what to do with him. We'll figure it out in the morning. Well, our half-orc barbarian, with an intelligence of 6, decides, I'm going to figure out if he's a ghost or not. So he goes down there and cuts his pinky off, which ended up killing the guy because I rolled the man's hit points. He had 1.
Nah.
Wow, he bled out and died.
Yep, bled out and died from having his pinky severed. So now the spirit of that man follows him around and just spews off random gibberish, which is actually clues for what's going on in the adventure. And all these clues are only heard by the dumbest person in the group.
Oh, that's classic.
Right. And it's one of those, just whenever I feel like it, they'll just be in the scene, sitting around at a tavern talking, and I'll just start rambling off the stuff, looking at that player, and they'll be like, no, shut up! And he'll start swinging his sword in the air, because he's the only one that can see the ghost. So I've been taunting him with that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, because I'm kind of using one of the second edition Ravenloft modules kind of as my basis, but as it's played out, it's nowhere near what the module was. But
Dumbest character in the party's got this ghost running around with
yep,
him.
and
Oh my
the ghost
gosh.
is the one that's going to give them the clues for what they
And
need to do.
he's the only one able to hear it.
Yes.
That's so great.
At which point they had one night the half orc just said, "I need you the voices to stop because he won't shut up." So he drank himself into a stupor, just to make it stop.
Oh, it's so cool.
Yeah. So yeah, we've been having fun with that, and then right now our next session won't be until next week because it's getting delayed due to one of our cleric is at a Super Bowl party. So.
Oh, which is, the recording of the show.
Yes, exactly.
Shh. Don't tell anyone that, though.
Yeah. Even though this will probably go up tomorrow or Tuesday. So.
Hopefully. Well, actually, the special insert will go up there. I had to speak with Jason Elliott from Gygax Magazine about issue number 1, guys. So.
Oh,
Good,
cool.
a lot of good things were said during the interview. He and Jason gave us a sneak peek into what's going to be in issue 2, if you listen to that as well.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to listen. You betcha.
And he told me about his experience about the unboxing and how the website went down and how he was nervous. And
Oh.
yeah, so he gave us some good information. We went over a lot of the articles. He told me some inside information about the articles. We had a lot of fun. Jason was very chipper and upbeat, which I was glad to hear. And so far, he's got some really good reviews about it. Obviously, there's going to be some haters out there, too. So,
Well, you can't please everyone, right?
No. Anyway, so back to gaming before I get to the news and everything. So my gaming group, I've been playing my first edition group. I'm not actually DMing, so I'm actually playing in it. I taught the group a lesson on how to play Lawful Evil.
Did you now?
I masterminded a plan that wiped the entire party out except for me. I shouldn't say that. Me and one other person, because the DM allowed him to escape because he felt bad.
Oh.
So what we were in this module, and we went down into a dungeon, and I'm playing a lawful evil assassin, and the rest of the group were all good, and we had about 6, 7, 8 players beside me, so we had a pretty large group. And we were looking, half the group was looking down one part of the stairs, the other half of the group was looking down the other part, like looking around for traps and things. I happened to go down the stairs partly and saw that there were some gnolls down there. Now, I didn't tell the group about that, obviously, when I came back up, because the gnolls never followed me. So the group was deciding what to do and how to proceed. So I walked down the stairs and to the gnolls and bargained with them to pretend like I'm paying them off to leave.
I just heard one of the gnolls bark in the background.
I don't know where that came from. So I
What was
paid.
that?
Hmm?
What happened?
I don't know. Never mind. So I paid the gnolls to come back and follow me and leave as if I paid them off, and I was going to tell the group that I paid them off, which I did. And the gnolls were supposed to come back and sneak up behind the group and attack the group from behind. And as well, there was another group of gnolls hiding further up the passage to jump the party. So I arranged all this.
Oh my gosh.
And I said that I also told the gnolls they were to attack me as well to make it look like they were betraying me, so I wouldn't have any suspect on me. So what happened was the gnolls attacked, and the group just kind of, died.
How nice.
The DM was so impressed with the creative ability that he didn't know what to do and went, "Yeah, I'm gonna allow it."
Yeah, just kind of went with it, huh?
But then the group was kind of silly because they kind of trapped themselves in the stairway instead of going into the room. So the gnolls just sat there going bink, bink, and just picking everybody off.
Oh, yes, the conga line of death.
And it was funny that the next week we played again, we went back to the same area, and the whole entire group but me died again as well. This time I didn't mastermind. I just kind of stayed in the background with arrows, shooting arrows, and when I saw the group falling one by one, I just went, I'm out of here, and I ran. And then they all died. That's where we left it.
Oh, jeez.
So there's your lesson in Lawful Evil, masterminding a plan.
Or trying to find players that play like you. Ugh. Lawful evil assassin. I'm not keeping an eye on you, my friend.
That's right. Keep an eye on us all. No. Nick, what have you been up to? What about the kids game you were playing?
That has actually been turning out very well. The really enjoyable game on that, Temple of Elemental Evil. Yeah, the last game session we had on that, they're still on the first level of the temple, and they have not gotten to the actual Earth Temple area. If everybody's familiar with it, that big area where the Earth Elementals are, they've been, if anybody recalls, there's like these like golden triangles, big golden triangles on the floor that kind of lead up to that. So they actually figured out, big golden triangles on floor, probably not a good idea to head that way. In fact, someone used I'm trying to remember what spell it was. But it's the one cleric spell that when you cast it, it'll tell you if there's a good or bad thing happening in the future, but it's really vague. What spell is that? I'm trying to remember. Like if you're like someplace will be certain death or something like that.
Oh, that's not the name of the spell, by the way. I can't remember.
I'm trying to remember. It's like, oh darn it, what's the name of the spell? But anyway, the one guy who's playing a fighter cleric, I believe, he cast that spell, and just like, if we go to this area, or is it certain death? And yes, I said yes, most certainly you will. Augury. I think it's augury, isn't it?
I think that's what it is. That's the one that foretells.
Yes, augury.
Yeah.
Yeah, he cast augury, and they're like, yes, we'll avoid that area for now.
Yeah.
So they did. And, they had a good time so far. I think next session on that one, they're probably gonna tackle that there, because they found the robe. They have the robe of the head of the cleric of the Earth Temple. Because if you have that robe, what can you do with it? You can control those Earth Elementals. So they'll figure it out. On my other group, they're doing the Hackmaster version of it. The game is over.
Wow.
Yeah, because you know how I mentioned how my other regular group, they have this knack of like breaking the adventures. Yeah, they literally broke the dungeon. They got that orb of the orb of abyssal death, that golden skull orb thingy that Zutmoy wants, and if you set her free, it will, she'll try to get it. Well, they found that like 1 or 2 sessions prior to that, they were able to use a lot of like basically divine intervention and using lots of spells to find out how, and some research of how to destroy this thing. So they went through all the elemental nodes. They found all the jewels to go into the thing. Then they figured out how to destroy it, and they destroyed it. And in destroying the orb, the whole temple collapses on itself. So they literally broke the dungeon.
Yes.
Which was great. I'm like, I kind of, I just kind of went with it. I mean, they were really smart about things. I can't knock them. It's a group of experienced players, and so, and actually, I'm kind of looking forward to a nice break. I said, like, after this, I'm like, I think I need a break from DMing. Jeff, you take over. So we're going to go on to his campaign. So it's a kind of a Spelljammer kind of thing that we're doing.
Spelljammer, cool.
Yeah.
Is it
the Hackmaster version, Hackjammer.
Oh, yeah.
So,
okay. That's pretty interesting to read.
Yeah, it'll be really, really fun. It's an ongoing campaign, The Quest for Bob.
The Quest for Bob.
Oh, here we go. It's going downhill already.
Anyway, thank you, Nick. So, Will, what about you?
Running 4 games. I completed a Rise of the Ruin Lords, and with a total party kill. They just could not, kill the last guy, which is sad because it was an initiative issue and failure saving throws that got them. So ain't nothing you can do about that. So we're working on something else right now. First edition group is doing good. And then the Call of Cthulhu group is doing good. So everyone's doing good. I got to play in a game for the first time in a long time last Friday. So.
Oh, okay.
Same old stuff. Still, getting ready for the gaming convention season. First gaming convention is of next weekend. I'll be going to that. Yep. So starting the gaming convention season early this year. And besides that, just the same old things. Painting miniatures, buying books, putting books away. Same old stuff.
Sounds good to me. Let's head over to some news in the community right now.
News.
There's our cheap sound effect. Yes, we are a quality. I didn't expect that, but okay. So anyway, obviously everybody knows by now that you can get PDFs legally of all 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and basic and expert D&D. Not everything though, but just about right now, as they're adding more to the library.
Yes.
DndClassics.com. I am a little perturbed that B10 isn't in there yet, but everything else pretty much is. B10, yeah, I like B10. Would that silenced everybody? I mean,
I'm confused.
Why are you confused?
I like B10.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
B10 is one of the larger Klingon ships in Starfleet battles. It's a B10
No,
Klingon.
it is not a Klingon ship.
Yeah, the B10 battle cruiser.
It's a huge ship, gigantic.
I'm just disconnecting you two from the podcast now.
Hey.
Podcast. Welcome to the new Roll for Initiative Crew podcast. Me and Matt.
Fine.
I actually did just get a copy of Starfleet Battles, though, off eBay. I have no idea about Star Trek ships, though. Just never was really my thing. But I'm like, I'm going to give this tactical game it. So maybe in a few weeks I'll know what a B-10 is.
Yeah, it's an exercise in frustration.
Yeah.
Have fun with it.
Ooh, anyway.
Yeah.
So anyway, DndClassics.com, you can look up 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and basic expert PDFs. A lot of good information here. They're putting it in. I see people were commenting on these are much better done or very well I can't speak today. Very wellly scanned.
Yeah.
I heard they were OCR'd?
Yeah, they're OCR'd. They're fully searchable. They have table of contents for the different sections. The only area I checked out B1, which is actually you can download for free. And the only issues with the scanning I saw was there's some discoloration on the covers, like on the edges. Probably just from wear.
Yeah.
But
that's what it is.
Outside of that, they're great copies.
Yeah, in fact, I think now they got 3 4th edition books for free right now.
Well, yeah, because nobody wants to play. I mean, yeah, that's a good idea.
No, you were right the first time.
Yeah, I have noticed a bunch of 4th edition stuff pop up at half-price books. And some of them were even the box sets, like the Shadowfell box set and one of the expansions for Gamma World. And there were some stickers left on it. They were actually from Books A Million, still in shrink. So I'm guessing Books A Million dumped some of their 4th edition stuff in half-price books.
I actually heard that Wizards was clearing out some of their stuff, and they dumped it off at a lot of local charities for 4th edition. So.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
I'll have to start hitting.
I don't know who to feel sorry for.
I'll have to start hitting the thrift stores. I'll buy some 4th edition books for like $2-3.
I'm looking on the website. The RPG starter set for 4th edition is available. The Quick Start for free, and like you said, H1 Keep on the Shadowfell and Quick Start rules is available for free as well if you'd like to play 4th edition and get sucked into that.
Right. Yeah.
But
It's a very good tactical miniatures game.
There you go.
And as well as Kyber's Harvest for 4E. I probably said that wrong.
Hey, but you know what? I did notice they do have Temple of Elemental Evil for $9.99. So if anybody wants a copy of that, head over there to DndClassics.com. It's worth it.
Anyway, also in the news that actually that Nick has shown me today. As of right now, you can download and peruse through just about every Dragon magazine for free.
Yeah.
Legally.
What was it? The California library system on archive.org? I think I had the link.
Right now. Archive.com.
Or archive.org/details/dragon_magazine.
They have everything out there. Or most of everything. They're continually adding. I was looking at like issue 54 not too long before I went on to the show. I'm like, and it's great and searchable. I mean, there's multiple formats. You can either view it online, PDF, whatever.
They actually had some EPUB versions for your ebook readers.
Yes, you can have it on your ebook readers. In fact, when you do it online, when you flip through the pages, it looks like the pages are flipping through. It's very cool. And excellent scans. It's by far a great setup for everybody if you want to look through old issues of Dragon Magazine, find some old articles that, that were inspirational to your game and you couldn't find in the past, or, just for sheer historical reasons. And this is all, from what I understand, completely legal.
That's why I said, as of right now, this recording.
Right. Yes, so
may go out. It may be pulled. I don't know, but we're letting you know it's free and considered legal.
Yes, because I guess it's through the library, so technically it's I guess it's legal. So they're going with it.
I hope they put Dungeon up there too as well.
That would be cool. I didn't really get into Dungeon magazine, but now that I've heard some really good stuff about some of the adventures that were in there, so hopefully I'll be able to look up some of those in the future. That,
and I'd love to see the Polyhedron magazine get in there as well.
Yeah, that would be really cool. Polyhedron.
That, the Cool Club Kid magazine thing.
Yeah, I know. I was never part of that club.
No, you weren't part of that. Anyway.
I never was. I feel so bad.
All right, let's head into Sage Advice.
Sage Advice.
All right, this week, basically this show is going to revolve around Sage Advice because we've compiled quite a few emails, voicemails, and reviews that we like to read off, so we like to just bang them all out in one episode and let people know what we think. So we're going to
our mailbag of holding is full.
Yes, it definitely is full at this point. No, actually, it never will get full because I keep expanding it over and over again.
Sweet.
Yeah. So, Nick, why don't we head over to stars?
Sure. Just to remind everybody, you can give us starred reviews on iTunes. You just go to the iTunes store, type in Roll for Initiative in the search area, and it'll bring you right over to Roll for Initiative, and you can go on to the ratings and reviews section. Right now we got 150 reviews, so we're getting close to 200. Hopefully we'll hit that this year, I think. But we just let you know we try to read as many as we can from time to time. I'll just pick one or two here. We got one from Brian Callahan, and he says it's old school nostalgia and gave us 5 stars. And he says, I have been listening since the beginning, and the show keeps getting better. DM Will is a great addition to the show, so kudos to you there, Will. Yay. I no longer game because of work, family, lack of old school gamers, but this show brings me back to the golden age of gaming. Thanks for the memories and keep up the great work, guys. Well, you just got to find time, Brian. Come on, dude. The game must be fun.
You know what I tell people when they say they don't have time?
What?
If you get sleep at night, you have plenty of time.
There you go. I'm with you. I'm with you, brother.
Please.
Sleep is overrated.
Overrated.
I
happen to enjoy sleep, so no, it's not overrated.
Yeah, no, that's true. Sleep is a good thing. But so that was from Brian Callahan, and just one more from I hope I pronounce this right. Drew Drupgyu, Drupgyu. These weird screen names, but he or she says OG Original Geek AD&D 5 stars. And They say, I love this very informative podcast. I listen to quite a few podcasts, and 2 are about Dungeons and Dragons. This and Nerd Poker, both are great. When you need info in first edition AD&D, this is the place to go. And to be honest, do you need any other edition? Of course not.
Please educate me. What is nerd poker?
Magic the Gathering, I thought. Oh, sorry.
I guess there's a podcast called Nerd Poker.
I've said that about the Gathering ever since it came out. I was like, what's like nerd poker or geek poker?
It pretty much is.
There actually is a Nerd Poker podcast.
I guess so.
Yeah.
So have to maybe check that out. So those are some couple of reviews that we got, and both 5-star. And we appreciate everyone who gives us reviews that are informative and also, are actual reviews, good critiques, not saying like DM Will sucks or.
Wow, you picked him out.
That's fine. That's fine. That's all good.
Or Nick can't talk. He's not educated.
Okay, all right, enough of that. Anyway, appreciate all the stars and people that wrote them in and taking the time to actually put input in for us. And always drop us an email, rfistaff@gmail.com, if you'd like to speak to us, or you can contact us on Facebook, or you could find us on Twitter, even though we don't really respond to Twitter. It's kind of just more of a show announcement for people to find the show. So that's about that. Well, we got a bunch of voicemails. I'll start with the first voicemail incoming here. So hold on a moment while we do that.
Hey, guys. This is Andy up in New Jersey. And shout out to Vince. Looking forward to get back to the Book of Sorrows at some point. But I had a question for you about thieves. I've always been bothered by the fact that the thieves' skills are so abysmal at first level. It just almost makes no sense. I couldn't even consider them even apprentice thieves, much less first-level characters. I'm just wondering if you guys have ever, in any games you've run or played in, come across a good way to supplement the skills that thieves have, that list of skills, something that makes it a little more interesting or even achievable for thieves to accomplish much the first level or two, certainly up to third level. Anyway, I appreciate your time and look forward to hearing what you say. Take care.
Now, as far as my understanding about the thieves' abilities or percentages is, it's just a guideline. Granted, yeah, that's their maximum guideline, but a DM is supposed to minus or add based on the situation to the percentage, and that's what I've always done for my house rules. What about the rest of you guys?
I've done the same. It's always, okay, well, you're in a crowded area, so it's going to be a lot easier to pickpocket the guy as opposed to just you and the other guy walking through a hallway. I just take into account all the situational modifiers.
Yeah, there's situational modifiers,
right.
But people seem to understand that, though.
Right, and
there's other modifiers too, because high dexterity, what type of armor they're wearing.
I think he means after that, though.
Oh well.
Right. I think you just have to make your players be a little more creative when using their skills to create situations that benefit them. They're not just going to be able to, I'm just going to walk through town and pickpocket everyone. They're going to get caught.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be easy.
Right, and I think we get caught up on we must have early successes, which from a story standpoint, sometimes the failures are actually better for the story than the success.
Right.
Like that you fail that pickpocket roll. Now you got an enemy. And then you can spin off that. Oh, you couldn't climb that wall. Now you fell down. And you can just create wacky situations from that.
Well, yes, like you said, situational modifiers, like you were talking about pickpockets. Here, another one, removing traps. What's the quality of the trap?
Yeah.
How well is it hidden? Yeah. Those are things that DM could take into consideration. You can add or subtract to the percentage roll. The locks, that's a good one. We have different quality of locks. Is it an old lock and rusted?
Right.
Is it relatively, new? Is it kept up? Is it a really complex locking mechanism? I mean, as a DM, you have some freedom there to play around with that a little. And, if you want to give a few percentage points here or take a few there, that's up to you. But, as long as you're consistent on it, as we always say, go with it.
Right. Also consider how long they have to complete the task. If they can sit there all day to pick a lock, I think they'll probably eventually get it.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're not in any time restriction for some things like lock picking or even trap finding, if they're other than accidentally triggering the trap, or I think disarming would be better. Once they know the trap's there, if they want to spend all day disarming a trap, I would let them. Just because, if you spend enough time to do anything, you can do it right.
Right.
And also weather conditions as well, because that will always put a damper on things, especially if it's colder. Your hands are going to shake more and screw things up.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
If it's hot, if it's, like you said, wet, is it windy? You never know.
Right. If you're trying to climb up a steep hillside and it's muddy, you can get a better grip than if it would be dry.
I'm sure Will could attest to this like I can. It's like, how many times have you been out, trying to, I don't know, you're in the Marines.
Well, a simple
adverse conditions.
Cold weather.
Yeah, you're in adverse conditions, and you're trying to load a light machine gun like the M249 SAW. I've done it. It's hard.
But one thing I want to mention is, since I play by the book and I don't use house rules as far as it's concerned, and I think that someone mentioned this already, with a first level thief, starting off with there are the ability to pick pockets and all that stuff is low. However, if you take into consideration the high dex, you get bonuses for that. Also, if you play a different race, you get other bonuses.
Mm-hmm.
So in the long run, if you play a human thief, they're going to generally be low and everything, but that's okay. They're allowed to be and everything, because remember, humans can go as far as they want, and the demi-humans have level limits. To supplement that, that's why they gave them all the other added on abilities for being a thief and everything. So just I'm saying a first level halfling thief is actually not a bad thief. You can actually get some high scores there.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so let's head over to the next voice. Thank you, Andy. And I don't know about the Book of Sorrows. I don't have time during the week like we used to. So we always played on a Tuesday night. Best time to get together. So anyway, let's continue on with voicemails. We got another one coming up right now.
Hey guys, this is DM Kojo. I'm calling to talk to you about the half-orc. Specifically, it seems like it's really underused, at least always in my games. No one ever wants to play a half-orc. Kind of a joke. Nobody takes it seriously. And you probably may know by now that I like players to play unusual things. I like the illusionist or the gnome to be played. Right now in my campaign, I've got a guy playing a gnome thief and really enjoying it. So I like the unusual things. But the half-orc, what's your experience with it? Many people play it. What are some pros and cons of playing it? And also, do half-orcs have pig faces? All right, guys.
Oh, my Lord. Here we go again. I totally agree with DM Kojo on this, that when I was running first edition, I allowed humanoid races of various types to wander through cities. Not all of them are evil. I just don't think all of them are evil. We talk about the half-orc character. The half-orc character starts off with some negative issues. First off, I think his attitude toward most races in the party, dwarves, elves, and so on, what is it, A, right? Or not, almost hostile?
And it's hated by everyone, Brian.
It pretty much is, and that's the issue with it. So you have to look at it. If you want to play by the book and everything, you're going to have some, conflicts and some issues. In my case, I don't see no reason why sentient, non-human humanoid creatures can wander around as normal because I think they can be of different alignments. Or if not, yeah, you know what? Just because they're evil doesn't mean they're not going to be seen inside a city. If you have a city of 50,000 population, I am certain there's going to be an evil humanoid of some type wandering around the city. And the same thing goes with half-orcs. You know, if you look at Greyhawk, it tells you the number of the population for those kind of creatures to be within a city. Half-orcs were not a popular race to play. People prefer to play dwarves, elves, you know, humans, or whatever the case may be and everything. Just simply on the fact is they're ugly. There's so much negative, stereotypical issues with the half-orc. Some DMs just would not allow it because they didn't want to deal with the added nuances and you know, all the time, well, what they would call the time wasted of dealing with, you know, encounters with NPCs. Oh, what smells? It's a half-orc. You know, let's attack it. It's a monster. You know, some DMs just didn't allow it and everything. I allowed it, of course. So yeah, you know, and does the half-orc have a pig face? No, it's half and half.
So it's got half a pig face.
It has half a pig face, like Two-Face from Batman. Half of it's pig, the other half is human.
You know, right down the middle.
Or, you know, across halfway, you know, top, bottom portion. No, half-orcs are difficult, you know, races to play only because a DM makes them difficult to play.
Right. It depends on your campaign setting. Are the half-orcs more accepted, or are half-orcs seen as the outcast? Because then you get into the sticky situation of, how are half-orcs created? There's some that will say they were created in not nice means, and others it's more open breeding. So I tend to go for just, they're like another race. It just happens. Not all orcs are out to slaughter everything around. And like I have a half-orc in my current party, and it's just, he actually intentionally made his intelligence lower because it's like, if I'm playing a half-orc, I'm playing a really dumb one. So he actually wanted to lower his stats. And I think it just really depends on your group and the player that's going to play the half-orc. Are they going to play them and play nice with the rest of the party? Or are they just playing it so they can run around and wreak havoc upon your game?
Most likely that's what it is.
I don't know. With half-orcs, I kind of, if someone wants to play it, I see it as an excellent role-playing opportunity for them, or for myself, if I play one, because I know through the rule book how the other races view them. But you know what? I mean, I think that's a great role-playing opportunity because you got to prove, you know, you're that outcast, but you want to prove that you could do wonders, you could do good things, you can be a benefit to the party, maybe a society as a whole. So, you know, I kind of like that whole twist on it, that they are the outcasts, but not all of them are out to do evil. So
maybe some are semi-evil?
Semi-evil. Or not evil at all. Who says you can't have an orc that's, lawful, half-orc that's lawful good?
Sure. Why not? All right, so let's go on to the final voicemail we have tonight. Sit back and relax and enjoy the show.
Hey, everybody. This is DM Angelo out here in Los Angeles. And I had well, first of all, I wanted to tell you guys are doing an awesome job. Keep it up. It's a great resource for old school gamers. And, yeah, what else can I say? You guys are awesome. My little question is for you guys. I don't remember exactly who it was, but it was some of the earlier episodes. One of you guys mentioned a D6 method of doing, I don't know if you want to call them skill checks or just checks individual, and then adding a D6 for complexity and or difficulty. So I have adopted that system in my game and absolutely think it's pretty awesome way of doing things. For instance, I had in my last game a ranger that climbed up in a tree and a zombie, well, he was scouting, and I guess there was a walker that walked by him, and he decided to, from 10 feet up, put his bow back away, jump down, and roll with the sword in hand and try to slash at the zombie and surprise it. So what I did was okay, yeah, you can do it. You can visualize it and it sounds real. What the heck? Why not do it? So what I did was he had a pretty high dexterity, and I gave him, okay, it sounds kind of complicated. Started out with the base of 3d6, I think I added a couple more dice to that, because it kind of sounded a little crazy, but what the heck. So he, roll under your dex, and obviously he succeeded, did it, and the group, killed the zombie. But anyways, I just wanted to know what, if anybody uses a system similar to that, what is what is kind of a rule for, I'm just winging it right now, but what is kind of a rule as far as adding, adding dice to it, and what's your guys' take is on that, and what kind of checks you would use to put to this method? I've been just using mainly physical activities that are kind of crazy, and that require some type of a check that I see will work good with the game. Anyways, I'm starting to ramble, but you guys are doing awesome, and I'm really, really glad that I stumbled upon this podcast. And tell you what, I started out in the 80s and went to another system a couple of years back, and ever since then I couldn't handle it anymore, and I got some duct tape and duct taped up my old books and my old other edition books, and it's not turned back, went back, and so AD&D is the way to go. So anyways, guys, thanks a lot, and thank you much. Bye.
Well, thank you for your comments and your mini review and segment.
He said we were awesome.
Yeah. So the 3d6 dice method was not my method. It was the method that the great Joe DM.
The great Joe.
Matt, you gotta have like a sound effect of that in the background or something.
Yes.
And a choir going, the great Joe.
Yeah, something like that. I expect it done by next show. No, I'm kidding.
Okay. We'll get right on that.
Yeah, he basically made that. I don't think he made it up, but I'm pretty sure he had a hand in making the modifiers. But as far as modifiers go, you kind of have to judge it on your own.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think he did a pretty good job of what he was talking about. So
yeah.
Sounds like it to me.
Yep, I've actually stole that method for my game too. So
bringing you all to the dark side of gaming.
Albeit, I will mix in D20s or be like, okay, roll me a D20 and a D6, or just random combinations of dice depending on how I'm feeling. So I don't limit it to strictly D6s.
Well, fine.
Yeah. So
You're doing it wrong.
Yes.
One day I may make them roll a D30.
Ooh.
Wow.
D30.
You have one of those too?
Yes, I do.
I have one. They hurt when they hit you.
Yeah. Well, I have a D20 that's like I think like 20 millimeters solid metal.
Ow.
Yeah. It was a glorious purchase from Crystal Cass.
Oh, very interesting. Well, thank you for the voicemails. And, Will, do you have anything to add to that last voicemail?
Nope.
Thank you, one comment man. Will.
I just don't have nothing to add because I don't use those kind of house rules and everything. I don't. I play by the book. So, hey, if it works for him, he's having fun, who am I to say he's wrong?
Well, all right then. You told him then, or whatever.
Alrighty then.
Yeah, alrighty then. You could contact us too at 570-865-4210, the hotline. Where DM Will
are standing by.
No, DM Will is standing by with one word of no. let's go over to some emails, because we have a bunch of those
Yes.
week. The first one comes from Michael F., and he writes in, I've just started listening to your podcast. I'm on episode 12, literally, as I type this.
Wow.
And I just wanted to say that your podcasts are amazing. Jason is truly a creative individual, and I've loved listening to his calls on rulings or introducing elements that can solve puzzling questions. Vince is a greatly humorous guy who can always seem to apply some absurdness thinking to rulings. I can't read that without laughing. Which somehow makes sense, albeit, and back and forth between these two is what gives this podcast its uniqueness. Aww. He really is back far.
Yeah.
Well, you were just coming in around that time too, Nick, right? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. It was
So
like.
long ago.
Mm.
Now, I personally don't play AD&D, so I'm not reading the rest of the letter. Sorry. No. Having only played D&D via 4E, I can hear the groans already, as Nick just did one in the background.
I said, oh. I didn't go, Okay.
I do come from a long line of RPGs: Shadowrun, good; White Wolf products, double good, and a lot of self-detailed GURPS. Self-detailed, does that mean house rule GURPS?
Probably.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that right? And it was only a year or so ago that I convinced friends to play D&D. What I think is great about your podcast is that it confirms my own belief that RPGs should be storytelling first and mechanics second. Thank you! Yeah, I'm going to clap. The power enveloped in the worlds of a dungeon master as a storyteller is far greater than any attempted adaptation to turn a tabletop games into power plays.
I agree with that.
Oh, there you are.
I
Will.
concur.
Oh, no, I've been here. Just making sure.
Okay. I'm also a bit adapter of the rules. A bit adapter? Am I saying that right?
I guess bit of an adapter.
Oh, a bit of an adapter of the rule books, holding no reservation at changing anything I dislike to which my players understand. We may be planning for ED&D, but without knowing anything about AD&D, despite the common themes and names, I like to think that we're keeping the spirit of Gygax's original vision alive. Sir Gygax's original vision alive. No, Gygax would roll over in his grave for 4th edition, so... He's probably just rolling over on it. I have no real reason to email you, apart from for saying I intend to listen to every one of your podcasts and hope that you maintain the path you're currently on. You have all my gratitude and praise, all natural 20s. Kidding about the 4E comments. We're glad you're actually playing a D&D game and using our show as actual inspiration for games. Cool.
And you never know. You know what? Mr. Michael F. Hey, pick up a copy somewhere. You know, who's to say you guys might want to just take a run back we'll see how these rules were done back in the day.
Right.
You know?
And who knows, Gygax may not be rolling in his grave, because remember, this did spawn out of a tabletop war game. And wasn't there an editorial by him in the early 80s about how storytelling and role-playing became too much of the game? And that,
yes.
So,
Hold on. No, you're right.
So who knows? Maybe 4E is what the natural evolution of the game should have been.
Right. You're right. Now disconnecting.
Who's this Matt Fall guy and how?
I'm disconnecting him as we speak. So.
Yeah.
It's now the Vince Roll for Initiative podcast, as all the other hosts have been booted.
That's
No,
right.
you
So,
don't try. I'm going to hit my instantaneous destruction button and I'm at. Yeah.
yeah, it says all the haters out there can say, "Oh, great!" Now. Anyway, so thank you for your email. We're glad you're playing D&D. I'm glad you convinced your group to play, and I'm glad you're enjoying 4E. Maybe you want to try D&D next, so you can get a flavor of the old school with D&D next. You know, that might be a good route to go if you like 4E.
Yeah, you never know.
Or as they say in Texas, to that route you want to go. So, Will, you have any comments about this email?
No.
No.
No. I was enjoying it, and I agree with the part there about the storyteller part. And like I said, if you don't go, and it goes with anything, whether it's game or living life, if you take anything to the extreme, it becomes unenjoyable. Just have some balance, and then you're good to go. Run with it.
Rig Rackway.
Exactamundo.
Yeah. So We appreciate the email, Michael F. And this is for you. Cheesy sound effects on the Roll for Initiative podcast this week. That's right. I do have a thing on my phone, so yeah.
We just took one step low.
That's right. Went from 5 stars to 3. Anyway, so the next email comes from Scott S., and he writes, I'm curious what your opinions are on Magic user spellbooks. What do they weigh? How many spells can one book hold? And do you allow traveling smaller spellbooks? Keep up the great show.
Ooh, I have this one. Ooh.
No, don't cheat. Don't tell me it's on page 79 of the Unearthed Arcana.
Ching.
No, go ahead. Go.
It's on page 79 of the Unearthed Arcana. The section is Magic User Spell Books. Yeah, there's a whole section in Unearthed Arcana. They talk about some general ideas about the types of spell books, the costs, physical aspects. There also is traveling spell books, and I could just let them know as far as traveling spell books, according to Unearthed Arcana, approximately 12 inches tall, 6 inches wide, 1 inch thick. 9 by 9 by 1 is likewise a good working size. Approximate weight is 30 gold pieces, encumbrance roughly 60. 5 such books will fit in a backpack, twice that number in a large sack. And there's some other details. So yeah, it's page 79, Unearthed Arcana. You can find that. There are, if you want to be a little more detailed on spell books, might I recommend, if you can find it, the Spell Slinger's Guide from Hackmaster. There's
How do you bring that up?
well, there's a really good section in there on spell books, the different types of covers you can have on the bindings, all that sort of stuff. So if you're interested in that, but I would say, if you want to just, page 79 Unearthed Arcana has some really good guidelines on the spell books and traveling spell books.
Well, as far as how many they can hold, I've always done in my campaign spell books or have the magic ability that every time you turn a page, it creates another page that you can write, kind of like a bag of holding for spell books almost.
I guess you could do it that way.
Yeah, I mean that's just how I do it in my campaigns. I don't want to be bothered with you got to carry around 17 books. No, just every time you flip a page, a new one's created. And if you need you just look at the book and say, I need this spell, and whoop, pops something on that page. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What about using alternative methods for your spellbook instead of an actual book? It's like there was one game I played where the setting was magic users were hunted down, so you needed to hide the fact that you were a magic user.
Funny.
So my character actually used rocks and chiseled his spells into rocks and carried around a bag of rocks as his spell book. Since if he had a book that was a spell book, it'd be like, oh, it's a magic user, burn him. But he's just a crazy old... Exactly. Whereas, he's just a crazy old guy that plays with his rocks when I'm actually studying my spells.
Not touching that
one. What do we burn apart from magic users? More magic users.
But have anyone ever used anything other than a book as a spell book?
I've actually heard people tattooing their spells on themselves.
Yeah, I have heard that too. I've never actually tried that, but you would run into a certain limit of space, or you start having to put spells in areas you can't actually see.
Well, that all depends now. That entirely depends on the DM's interpretation of how spells are done. Understand now that all magic users, when they write their spells, are not the same. They're unalike from one another. Where it takes one magic user 20 pages to do a magic missile spell, another mage might find 2 pages to do a magic missile spell, or maybe a quarter of a page. I like tattoo magic, and I even had them inscribe their spells on their staff or other part. Yeah, it just varies. It just depends.
Yeah, no spell is alike, and that's the reason why Read Magic exists in first edition, and it gets lost in the rest of the editions. They don't. I don't know about second. Do they still use Read Magic in second?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I know it got lost in third and up, so I wasn't sure. So. one of those things, you know. And
That's funny.
so there you go, Scott S. Hopefully we answered your question on that. Then Nick's information by cheating in the book. No, I'm kidding. By
Cheating?
The next email comes from Stephen F. And he asks, does DM Nick have a website?
No.
Hearing him mention... You're going to go with the no answer now, too?
Yes.
I keep hearing him... You're fired again. That's strike 2. Anyway. I keep hearing him mention that he is posting photos on his Hearst Arts project, but I can't seem to figure out where these photos are being posted. Well, he actually wrote back later on and said, I meant DM Will. I apologize. So, Will, where are those photos located?
Well, simply all you have to do is go to the website.
Which website?
The OSR website, your website.
Oh, osrgaming.org/forums.
That's it. And do a search and do Hearst Arts, and then you will pull up all the posts concerning the pictures that I have posted. I have about another 40 to 50 that I haven't posted yet. When I get back to posting again, then I'll post the rest of those on there.
And you have to log in to see those posts, as you have to be a member of our wonderful Jonestown Society. Oh, I mean OSR Gaming Society. Sorry about that.
Wow.
Well, remember, I was actually born on the exact day of the Jonestown. So, November 18th,
quite a bit, Matt.
Yes, November 18, 1978.
Anyway, inside reference, yeah. Ooh.
Matt's evil. I knew it.
Yep.
Anyway, next email comes from Daniel H. And Will, I'll let you take this one. Comes from a fellow brother in arms.
Oh, well, here we go. Daniel H. I think I know which one that is. He writes, hey, guys, I love your podcast. I played first edition D&D as a kid with my brother and friends back in 1979 through 82. It was great times, and I still think of myself as a fighter. I was a warrior, golf player, like Will, my USMC bro. Hoorah, my friend. I read some pulpy D&D books as well. Some were so bad I didn't even finish them, but I enjoy R.A. Salvatore Drizzt books, and I also like the Daughter of the Drow books. The series of books that was about the Drow wizard and fighter, War of the Spider Queen series was enthralling as well, though some of the horrific parts of it I despise attributing from my ethos in real life since I'm a lawful good fighter, ranger, USMC hero like Will. No, actually, I'm more like a paladin or a cavalier. I was wondering if there are any books you liked and wanted to recommend. Perhaps you might share this in a segment on a show. I'm trying to think of some constructive criticism. I recommend you do not dig on each other so much. I recall you discussing using a wish spell on some episode and you seemed a bit surly and unkind to each other. Sometimes Nick and Vince come off a bit too much as smart arses. Jason did as well. But I guess a bit of joking and mouth talking the pee out of your friend is needed to move the show. Conversely, you should agree to disagree and act as professors. Brilliant, historical colleagues who respect each other's deep, profound sagacity in the realms of nonsense. You can both be correct in worlds on reality.
I hate you.
Okay. I will add an unhelpful opinion. Oh, here we go. Did not all even listen to much past the first few minutes of the show with the game creator talking about a game dealing with demon possession he created? I'm sorry. I know Odysseus made a blood sacrifice to the spirits so he could talk to them in hell, but that is far enough removed from the real belief system a whole to not bother me quite so much. This gospel of Sarah was an anathema to me. However, that is just all based on my worldview, and perhaps, turning the page, another reason I would never play an evil character in D&D. Sorry to end on a negative note. Overall, great shows, and I hope you all live long and continue the game and make shows at the Mad Max Apocalypse Total Civilization. I myself will be eaten by cannibal food gangs. I have only a kitchen knife and my 14th level fighter skills to protect myself. Okay. Follow up from Dan. Sorry I did not mention Matt, but he is the mild-mannered fellow and junior boot of the podcast and was not on the last show, so I forgot to mention his insights.
Junior boot, Matt. There we go.
Junior boot.
Ooh.
So,
Well,
boot equal recruit, I guess, in the Marines.
Yeah, boot is like a shower shoe, someone that's real new.
Yeah. Newbie.
Yep. Noob.
All right, so Will, why don't you go back and answer some of the questions that were directed to you?
Well, back in the day when I had the time to read, I don't read as much as I used to. I read Well, I have read the majority of the Forgotten Realms books, the Greyhawk novels. I mean, I have read so much fantasy books and horror and science fiction and make your head swim. But I don't read as much anymore like I used to. So as far as recommending books, depending on the genre, currently I am re-engaging myself back into the Ravenloft line of books. I really enjoy them. The new line of Pathfinder books are actually just stupendous. They are just awesome, great writing, good fantasy material. I'm just there's so many good books out there now these days. So I'm real careful what I pick. There's a line of books from I can't remember where it came from that revolves around the undead. It's called Unclean, Undead, and I can't remember what the other ones are. But I don't know if they were Forgotten. I think they're Forgotten Realms. Another good line of books. So that's what I'm concentrating right now, more or less, is on my horror, because I do play a lot of Call of Cthulhu right now. So I'm trying to maintain that mentality when I play with those people.
Okay.
I'm just trying to see what else. I don't know what he was talking about, this other stuff. I don't remember this issue about the Wish episode.
That was way back before you were on the podcast. It was just Jason, Nick, and myself. Yeah. I'm not even sure if Matt was around at that point.
I don't remember that. I think that even predates me.
Yeah,
but
it was.
One thing.
I just want to jump in here and say that no, we're not professors and we're not brilliant historical colleagues who respect each other deeply and profoundly. We all like to just dig on each other because it's funny, because that's what friends do. And,
I hate you.
Yeah, I hate you too. And we're not the end all of all, answer to everything here. Yeah, granted, we can give you our advice, how we play, and our experiences, but no, we didn't write the stuff. We don't own the stuff. The end all would be Gary Gygax, but unfortunately he has passed away. Right. The next, I would think, hat would go to Frank Menser, probably, in my opinion.
I agree.
Dave Arneson, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry?
He's dead too.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Dave Arneson.
Well, Dave really was more of a classic D&D person than a first edition, so... Granted, he has his roots. His roots are there, but he was more of the classic D&D. At least that's what I think. But Frank had his hand more in first edition than more people. So I would always go to him if I needed a ruling.
This is how I look at it when he makes this comment. It's so funny you bring this up because, and I appreciate placing me on a pedestal like that. But one, there was a thing on Facebook where someone claimed I am a scholar of token lore. Let me tell you something.
Scholar of token lore?
You're not Aristotle. And, there was a couple other people who claimed that they're, just because they studied one topic for 20 years, then they consider themselves a scholar. You know what? BS, horse crap.
Whoa.
You're just well knowledgeable. No, I'm serious. So, I'm not a professor. I'm not a brilliant historical colleague and all that stuff.
Right. Not even brilliant. Oh.
And all.
I'm not even sure he's a colleague.
Yeah.
We're all colleagues. But what I'm trying to say is that, when people place themselves on that pedestal and they make them sound like, well, I am a scholar, like, oh, you're the Aristotle or token lore, or you're the Socrates of D&D lore. Give me a break.
Yes, we are the Socrates on our platform.
They make it sound like they actually went to an accredited school and a college and say, hey, I got a degree in D&D lore. And I'm thinking like, okay.
That'd be an awesome degree, though.
Yeah, it would be kind of cool.
I do know someone that calls himself a wrestling historian only because he was involved in a racial discrimination lawsuit against WCW, and the state of Georgia declared him one for purpose of the lawsuit.
Oh, geez.
Oh, my goodness.
Matt, it's WCW. You have to say it right.
WCW.
Yeah, it's W. You can't say W. That's East.
W.
South is W.
Yeah.
That's because Ted Turner said it that way. That's why I'm making fun of it.
No. I think that all of us that are on the show are very experienced, and we all have a wide horizon as far as D&D is concerned, and other games as well, Hackmaster, Boo. But I had to throw that out at him. You know me.
That's all right. I hate you too.
As we are well knowledgeable, but like I said, we can only tell you what we do know based on our experiences. And there's no doctors that know more than me, but no, I'm not a scholar.
Yeah, we're just a bunch of guys who enjoy this game and, the love of this game that comes out in the podcast. And yeah, we're not the end all be all. That's for sure.
And I'll just knock over all
No,
our,
none of us ever claimed that.
I'll just knock over all our pedestals when I'm trying to get to the chopper.
Get to the top, get down.
No. Anyway, thanks for the email, Dan, and we appreciate the comments and the feedback. But I understand. I also understand the Gospel of Sarah was not for everyone, but I've been friends with David Hill for quite some time, and I've always promised him some type of airtime for his products because he's an up and coming writer, and everybody deserves a fair chance to get their product out. So,
what the heck?
You give back to the community, and the community gives back to you. So that's how it works.
Yup.
Anyway, next email comes from
Can I read it? Can I please?
Oh, sure, go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't know.
My goodness, it's not T1 through 4.
Yeah, so.
No,
go on.
Anyway, this is from DM Longstaff Sixpenny Striker. That's a very interesting name.
Yeah.
And DM blah 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 writes, "Hey gang, the very first adventure I ever played was N1 Against the Cult of the Reptile God by Douglas Niles. Have any of you played it? If so, what are your observations? Has Will ever thought about converting it to Pathfinder? I would love to hear a review of this module if you ever get around to it. Love the show and keep up the good work. I am a huge fan of all the Wild Games production shows and listen to them regularly. I am still getting caught up on RFI, though. I apologize if I already addressed N1 in a previous show. Actually, I did. There was a Blackstone's Vault on Against the Cult of Reptile God, I believe. I think that was the first one. And but yeah, that was one of my favorite ones. I love that one. It's a great introductory adventure. And there's so many different ways, and you could fit it into a campaign world. It just has a little bit of everything,
Mm-hmm.
It's got the town that's in trouble. There's a dungeon nearby. There's an evil cult that's going around in the town, and you got to figure it out and try to get rid of this evil cult. And there are some minor problems with the adventure that any good DM could tweak it out. I mean,
you went on the review. I remember that.
Yeah, it was back in issue 6.
Yeah, issue 6. Thank you very much.
That black guy quit on us.
Yeah, that guy. He gets so
Flake.
I know. What's up with that?
I don't know.
I remember one of the issues I had was like, okay, one of the things in the adventure was the temple in town, the temple that was originally dedicated to the goddess Marika, who's the goddess of agriculture in World of Greyhawk. The priests were converted to this reptile god. The only problem is, according to the rules, if you can't get any spells above like 2nd or 3rd level if you drop out of your faith as a cleric. So how are these high level clerics getting, more these spells,
Ooh.
So I kind of did a thing to where the actual reptile god is not exactly a god in itself, but like not an avatar, but is speaking for another god. I actually kind of took it to like the spirit naga at the end. Spoiler alert, sorry.
Oh.
But the spirit naga is actually is the head of a temple devoted to like some demon or devil. So she's kind of like an avatar maybe for this demon or devil or something. And that's how they're getting their spells, if you want to work it that way. But other than that, it's a great adventure. I love it. Douglas Niles did a great job on that one, I thought. So. What about Pathfinder there, Will? Do you think about covering that one?
Okay, right now, currently on my list, it is one of the top 20 that's going to be, I will convert to Pathfinder. Currently, right now, I'm working on the Slave A1 through A4 series in the Pathfinder stats.
You did mention that, yeah.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of time and everything because I started with some of the smaller ones like B1, then I did B3, and then I did a couple others, C1. I converted quite a few to Pathfinder, but N1 is definitely going to be on my list soon because just like it is one of your favorites. N1 is definitely one of my favorites. I have played this thing multiple times, hosted it actually. And it does have some issues, but again, it is a first edition module, and first edition modules are notorious for those kind of issues.
Yeah.
But I will tell you something. You're going to hear a big surprise on next week's podcast concerning the village of this module compared to what we're talking about next week. I'm not going to reveal what we're going to talk about, but I'm going to tell you now, they should have used the format of this village.
The village, like the M. Night Shyamalan movie, or?
No, not that one.
Well, you're talking about in N1, the village of Orlane.
Yes.
They should have used that as a template.
Oh.
Yes. Big time. And we'll talk about that next week. But yes,
okay.
N1, great
so
module.
A little teaser for next time.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, N1, great module, great big bad evil person or monster, whatever. It has everything that, I mean, this is an excellent adventure.
Yeah.
Cool. Anyway, so next email just came in via the. Anyone want to read this one before I start reading it?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, our next letter comes from John C. He writes, I am new to the podcast and I love it. I played in the early 80s when I was 11 and now I'm 42. I'm 42 now, sorry. And my only version is first edition. I am in the midst of teaching my family how to play after not playing for 20 some odd years, and the info was very helpful. Cool. I dig the host as well, and bad sad to learn that I'll eventually get to the episodes with no Jason, but look forward to how it changed. So thank you from this OG AD&D fan, which is Original Geek, and keep up the work. Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
So the next one comes from Rob from Essex, England, our overseas fan. Across the pond, as they say, right? Hi, great, wise, and all-knowing sages of RFI.
Here we go again.
I was waiting for Will now. I have listened to every episode of your brilliant podcast. Well, thank you, but I'm brilliant. Mostly on my way to work and on the tube in London. The tube, is that what they call the train over there?
Yeah, that's the underground tunnel system. The subways.
The subway, okay. Anyway, just wanted to thank you for such a great show that is dedicated to AD&D, a game that I have loved and cherished since I was a young boy in the 70s. Long live RFI. Hooah! Long live AD&D. Sorry, Will.
That's okay. That's okay.
Now that I have calmed down, unless I'm mistaken, you have never done a show about magic users familiars. How dare you? No, he didn't say that. What does the panel think? Can almost any creature be a familiar, like a green slime in a jar? I think not. Keep the AD&D banner flying high and proud. Well, I added the I'm proud. Yes, I think a green slime in a jar could be a pet. No, I'm kidding. It'd be kind of cool, though.
Yeah. Yes, it would be very unique.
There is a list, I believe, of the familiars, and you have to use that list. But I mean, I guess you could, as a DM, rule whatever you want.
Right. If you have a unique setting where you wanted to have the familiar be something more indigenous to your world, then yeah, I wouldn't necessarily have a problem with making something else a familiar outside of that list. I once played a magic user that had a monkey as a familiar, which are actually rather helpful. Good about fetching ingredients and getting things out of trees. I'd recommend a monkey.
Like a circus monkey?
Yes. I wanted to get the little hat with the symbols to put on him, but never quite managed to do that.
Well, what do you allow in your games?
Well, I do play by the book and everything, but I also take into consideration that when the first edition rules were written, there was no Monster Manual 1 and there was no Fiend Folio. So it's only acceptable to allow other creatures to be familiars. And I think some good ones are like Mephits, if you know what Mephits are. Yeah, the steam Mephit, the air Mephit, those kind of things. Yep. They would make great familiars. So there was a number of monsters that were in those two books that would definitely qualify to be a familiar of some type. So yeah, I have no problem. I think that's good. Now, as far as the green slime in a jar, I don't know. I don't know what you could use with that, but I mean, it has no intelligence. It's in a jar. It can't move. I don't know what else it can do for you except if
you let it out of the jar, it could clean your floor.
You could use it as like a Pokemon and say, I choose you, and throw it at somebody.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but as it gets bigger, bigger, and bigger, then what are you going to do then?
Bigger jar.
Yeah. Then you get your jar of holding.
Or you take part of the green slime and you put it in the jar and leave the rest there.
Oh my Lord, I should have left it alone.
Hey,
No, definitely. I think that there's plenty of other things that can be familiar, and also, since we're on the subject of that, go back to the older material. Do y'all remember the creature called a spectator? The orb that looks like a beholder, but what it is, it's summoned just to guard treasure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
There's multiple creatures. There's tons of creatures from basic that never made it into first edition. Use those too as well. I think those are great creatures to use. Yeah, use them.
Next email comes from DM Scott. I heard Will talking about converting some 1E modules, so this is a kind of a follow-up to the other one, but not the same person, to Pathfinder. I am very interested in his idea and wondering how I can get a hold of some of these finished products. I am running a Pathfinder game, even though it is not my preferred edition, 1E all the way. Whoop, whoop. However, in my community, Pathfinder is rampant, and, that's the group I found my way into. I'm trying to impart as much old school influence into the game as possible, and I think running some 1E modules would be the perfect way. I enjoy Pathfinder myself as an old school gamer. I think Pathfinder has that old school feel to it anyway, so I don't object to Pathfinder because it's not called D&D. So, Will, what about the modules? How can you get a hold of them? Are any of them available, or just private?
Well, this is what the deal is with being that, and me and Matt were just talking about this kind of stuff, is that when I convert these things and everything and I give them out, they're not to be sold or anything like that. Now, the rule of thumb, and it's like Matt said to me as well, I can just make a simple document and just provide stat blocks for all the monsters, and then we're good. It's kosher. That's not what I'm doing. What I'm doing is I'm taking the entire module, I'm rewriting the entire module, putting more fluff into it, rewording syntax errors, and all that other stuff on top of the stat block. So what I'm doing is I'm actually effectively rewriting the whole module. But I'm changing the old school feel to it. It is always going to be old school to me no matter how it's written, because when I say A1 through A4, B3, Palace of the Silver Princess, if you play these modules before and you run them, you say like, wow, that brings back some memories. It doesn't matter what editions it is. It's the fact that you played an old school module back. It's the nostalgia that comes back and rewards you with those good memories. Now, the only other thing that I can add to it is that if I do get these modules and I give them out to y'all, just don't give them away and, don't sell them or nothing.
Well, that's where the episode ends, folks. Unfortunately, after some technical difficulties and problems with my Skype, the podcast ended right there. So hopefully you've enjoyed it. You can always head over to our Facebook page, Roll for Initiative, rfistaff@gmail.com. We still do get those emails, and sometimes Matt will answer them. You can also head over to youtube.com/theevildm and check out my YouTube channel, where I have plenty of first edition stuff and old school gaming as well there, and exploring all those wonderful things. Who knows, maybe the response to this will encourage the original Roll for Initiative group of myself, Matt, and Nick to get back into the saddle and start doing these episodes again. With that said, keep it original, keep it old school, and keep that flame burning. Good night.
Roll for Initiative.